get everything out there. But I did just want to say, if you want...
Up. And blah, blah, blah. So we are officially recording. We've got the most important cineasts in the Hearthstone-averse. There's two words I've made up now. And we're about to launch into the lives of others. So now I'm going to share my screen. Just one moment, please. And then I'll launch into the presentation. Any questions so far? Good. All right. It all makes sense. Hopefully it'll make sense at the end. This is a lengthy movie, by the way. So we are in the Hearthstone University Film School. Welcome, everybody. I need to thank the movie committee. Thank you all for coming. I heard from a few of the committee they weren't going to be able to make it, and they're wanting to see the recording, which is what we're doing now, as I said before. We are recording away. And I want to thank you all for coming and welcome. My name's Alan. I am the program development dude here at the Hearthstone. And today's topic of study is The Lives of Others, which I won't try to say in German. Premiered September 2006 at the Toronto International Film Festival in North America, a little over 15 years ago. But let's dial it back to today. What do we do here at the Hearthstone University Film School? It's brought to you by the movie committee. We pick the movie, we present the movie, we watch the movie, then we discuss and end with some trivia nuggets. We call it Knowledge in Nature's Neighborhood. Sneak peek of next month, and we have got 1955's Smiles of a Summer Night. Carl Sloan will be doing this movie for us. If you know your Swedish, Sommarnattens, perhaps, 1955. This is a Carl Sloan pick. He's part of the movie committee. We're hopefully going to be doing this one in the chapel. It's Ingmar Bergman's first great international success. This is before he was a legend, establishing the versatile camera work, thematic concerns, and fragmented narrative style of this serious artist and now legendary Swedish writer-director, famous for a couple of films in 1957. The Seventh Seal, you can see an image there of playing chess with death. And then 1957, also Wild Strawberries, where you're kind of stuck and you wonder if you can get out. And a lot of his films kind of have that claustrophobic feel. Here's another one I'm going to try to pronounce. Viskningar och Rop, also known as 1972's Cries and Whispers. So that's another one of his famous films, Fanny and Alexander, so on and so on. He just has lots of them. And then the plot of this one is in Sweden at the turn of the century, memories of the upper class and their servants find themselves in a romantic tangle that they try to work out amidst jealousy and heartbreak. So hopefully, like I said, in the chapel, Wednesday, August 25th at 2 p.m. Any questions about Bergman? Or Smiles of a Summer Night, or Carl Sloan? Should be very good. So let's dial it back to 2006. So Isabelle Dinoir, a French woman with the first face transplant, is spotted in public. Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein is executed. Pluto is downgraded from a planet to a dwarf planet. Google buys YouTube and will come to buy a lot of other things. Bird flu, so-called, is discovered in Scotland. Hype ensues around the film Borat, which is a highly satirical mockumentary, if you will. Well worth seeing if you haven't seen it, and there is a sequel that came out last year. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest is the top grosser for the year. Best Picture will be The Departed. And so going back to the beginning, today's movie is a contemporary classic. It won Best Foreign Film. It is the 57th. It went up one in ranking since I started my research a month ago. Most popular movie on the Internet Movie Database. So those fanboys and gals have elevated it very high. So it's like around, I don't know what it's next to, but, Godfather's on there, Shawshank. All those fan favorites. But before it became a legend, where did it start? So the Henkel von Donnersmarcks are an Austrian-German noble family from the former region of Spiš in Upper Hungary, now in Slovakia. The founder of the family was Henkel de Quintaforo in the 14th, 15th century. The family estate is in Donnersmarck. And director Henkel von Donnersmarck's parents are both from East Germany. You can see the crest, the family crest there. You can also see the current family, as current as a few years ago anyway. Florian is going to be the taller guy there. He's the one who directed the films. So his folks are both from East Germany. On visits there as a child before the Berlin Wall fell, the director could sense the fear they had as subjects of the state. So the idea for The Lives of Others comes to von Donnersmarck when he is trying to come up with a movie scenario for a film class. And so he is listening to music and recalled Maxim Gorky's saying that Lenin's favorite, that's Vladimir Lenin's, and you can see them playing chess together there, Gorky and Lenin. Lenin's favorite piece of music was Beethoven's Appassionata. Gorky recounted a discussion with Lenin, and screwing up his eyes and chuckling, Lenin added without mirth, "But I can't listen to music often. It affects my nerves. It makes me want to say sweet nothings and pat the heads of people who, living in a filthy hell, can create such beauty. But today we mustn't pat anyone on the head or we'll get our hand bitten off. We've got to hit them on the heads, hit them without mercy, though in the ideal we are against doing any violence to people. It's a hellishly difficult office." A lot there. Any questions so far? I know, quite a bit there. So Donnersmarck tells a New York Times reporter, this is a contemporary interview, "I suddenly had this image in my mind of a person sitting in a depressing room with earphones on his head and listening to what he supposes is the enemy of the state and the enemy of his ideas, and what he is really hearing is beautiful music that touches him. I sat down and in a couple of hours had written the treatment." So the screenplay is written during an extended visit to his uncle's monastery. I'm going to butcher another pronunciation. Heiligenkreuz Abbey. I think I got Abbey right. And there is von Donnersmarck in all of his glorious hair. They made a big deal out of it around award season in 2006, 2007, if you'll recall. So Donnersmarck has difficulty getting financing for the film. The neocon columnist and presidential speechwriter John Podertz speculated at the time that the reason was a reluctance on the part of the film industry in Germany to confront the horrors of East German communism, although he says that is rich with dramatic possibilities. That might also explain why the organizers of the Berlin Film Festival refused to accept the film as an official entry for 2006. The entire budget for the film, about $2 million, or 1.6 million euro at the time, was possible only because the actors were willing to work for 20% of their customary salary. So you can kind of think of von Donnersmarck as Germany's Wes Anderson. He makes about as many films, which is to say not as many. And there he is with his dog and with his wife, Christiane. All right, almost done. Anybody have any questions before we get to the last slide here? Okay, so The Lives of Others sets a record in 2006 for getting the most nominations, that's 11, for the German Film Awards ever. It wins 7. Remember, it wasn't even accepted at Berlin Film Festival. It's the best of 2000s, according to the Film Society of Lincoln Center, IndieWire, Metacritic, The Guardian, which is the UK rag. The BBC puts it as the number 32 best film made in the decade so far recently. And of course, it's way up on Internet Movie Database. And Film Comments weighted survey of all major critics put it way at the top as well. American journalist John Podertz, we quoted him before, called the film one of the greatest movies ever made and certainly the best film of this decade. William F. Buckley Jr. wrote in his syndicated column that after the film was over, quote, "I turned to my companion and said, I think that this is the best movie I ever saw." So it's very appealing to conservatives, and think about that. John J. Miller of National Review Online named it number 1 in his list of the best conservative movies of the last 25 years. The tagline for this film, "Nothing is private, nothing is sacred." So while you watch it, think about all of that. Conservatism, life slipping away, secret desires, subtlety, free will, characterization, and much, much more to discuss in 138 little minutes. Does anybody have any questions before I launch into the film?
Oh, we better get on with it.
I must have, I know, right? It's a long movie.
It's
I must have covered it well.
130
Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to watch the movie.
It sounds like the Stasi.
Funny guy. Thanks for bearing through all those technical snafus.
Were you using a DVD or what was the source of that recording?
Oh, the source was DVD.
Yeah.
So it's in the collection, or it will be in the collection when I walk it over there. So you can rewatch it. And
So
get
probably the difficulties not with the DVD, but probably showing it through Zoom.
yeah, it's been a challenge getting things to look and sound good through Zoom. But we can still watch them and we can still discuss them, and then this discussion is then saved, and I know you have to get to dinner soon, so we'll do this fast. Okay. So it won the 2007 Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film, as well as those 7 German, their equivalent of the Oscars, including director, actor, picture, screenplay. Won Independent Spirits. It won a few others. Lots of really, really strong reviews. It's pretty much 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's considered one of the decade's best, and still is after all this time. And I'm just wondering what everybody thought. Joanne, if you'd like to unpause or unmute yourself, make yourself visible, that would be fine. You could join the conversation. We normally just go through. There's usually more of us, like 8 or so. But now that there's just a few of us, we could go through quick thumbs direction and then get into the meat of the conversation, so you can get into the meat of your meal.
or
Just a
the
little.
meatballs. Or the meatballs. That's what's for
Just a
dinner.
little piece when the
Yes.
phone rang, but
Okay, I think I hear you saying something, Joanne. Did you like the film? Did you not like the film?
yeah, I found it very compelling and sad and scary in ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ended up I got interrupted, so I missed maybe 3 minutes going to look for ducks to report to somebody what the killdeer were doing. But when I came back, I saw the finale in terms of his looking through all the reports of how much he was scrutinized,
Right.
and seeing the red smear on the report.
Right. And Bells, what did you guys think?
2 thumbs up, I think.
2 thumbs up. So it looks like we got 4 thumbs up.
I found this I had not seen this film before at all. And it was so gripping, Alan, that I was determined to hold in there despite the technical difficulties. I was just terrified that we might not get to see the end of it. But I really wanted to know how it ended. I found it such a complex. I mean, I'm not surprised that it won the awards that you're talking about, because it is so unpredictable and imaginative in terms of how both the writer and the director made it come to life. I like.
Well, I'm gonna jump ahead, and I grab mostly conservative commentators for reviews. Here's John Podhertz again. He calls it a character study in the guise of a suspense thriller. And here is, I'm going to see if you can guess this legendary conservative. He's not a film critic, I'll put it that way. The tension, I can't read my handwriting. Oh, the tension mounts, sorry, take 2. I'll delete that out in post. The tension mounts to a heart-stopping pitch, and I felt the impulse to rush out into the street and drag passersby in to watch the story unfold. That is, I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with Schwilliam, Schmuckley, Jr.
Luckily, of course. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, it's a very suspenseful film. And A.O. Scott of the New York Times, who is a critic, says the suspense comes not only from the structure and pacing of the scenes, but also more deeply from the sense that even in an oppressive society, individuals are burdened with free will. You never know from one moment to the next what course any of the characters will choose. So we get a pretty authentic view. And, you know, this is coming from the director's childhood. He was a blue blood West German. Gerd, the guy who played Gerd, I forget his name, but he's a very famous actor in Germany. He'd actually been in the crosshairs of the Stasi when he was acting early in his career. So there's some authenticity that goes into this film. And what's Gerd's life look like? Like, what's the texture there? Gerd is the Stasi.
He's the
star.
Is the star.
He's the star.
Weisler.
I'm not talking about Steve Martin.
Yeah. So I've always been fascinated with film performances that are understated. And this is the ultimate.
Sorry, your sound's a little weird, Don.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Film performances that are what?
Understated.
Understated, yes.
Emotionally understated. So this is a character that is, I think, is forced not to show emotion, and even at the points in time where he gets so involved that you can feel the emotion inside of him. He does not show it.
Yes.
But you can feel it. I mean, I don't know whether that's me getting involved in the story or whether that's brilliant acting by an actor. I don't know. Could be some of both. But I just thought the fact that he was so understated and so constricted lent a really incredible quality to his performance.
I agree. And he shows. There are some actors who don't show. They'll do that kind of thing, but they won't show a lot of depth. And he shows depth while he's doing that stone-faced thing. And you can see emotion, even though the tears aren't necessarily pouring down. I'm thinking of the Appassionata scene. Do you guys remember that one? If I keep listening to it, I won't finish the revolution, right? And so he's playing it, and then we get a close-up of Gerd's face, and the camera's just slowly panning across. And is he sweating? Is he crying? Probably both. Maybe just sweating. Maybe he's been so shut down by the regime that he can only sweat, right? And then does anybody remember what happens in the very next scene? He's in the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
Is this with the kid?
Yeah, with the kid.
That's his second humanity.
Yes, exactly. So the music, and this, remember, this is the impetus for Von Donnersmarck. I hope I'm saying his name right. This is the impetus for him to make this film. Like he felt the music effect, and then he read about Lenin being affected by the music. And of course, the next scene, the boy asks, is he Stasi? And he said, I can tell you're Stasi. My dad thinks you're a bunch of jerks. And then the guy, there's like a moment of, and this is great acting, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the name of your ball?
He stops.
And we can all breathe.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay, it's the power of art, I think, is what he's trying to get across there. So we've got a thriller, but we've got all these facets and all these insights. And I'm trying to figure out in this conversation why it's so popular with conservatives. They love it, and loved it when it came out, and also why it's so powerful, period. I mean, it won a bunch
My
of...
guess is, see, communism is bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Under the name of socialism.
Right.
Yes.
They
Very true.
conflate the two.
Right. That is a very, very good point, Jay.
I was emotionally was surprised that he could find out who the guy was, see what his position in life had become, and he didn't jump out of the car and thank him, so to speak. 2 years before he got recognition then.
Right. What do we make of that?
And Joanne, I was with you. I kept, in that last scene where the writer is in the car and his nemesis is walking, delivering mail. And I kept wanting to say, get out and, talk to him. Don't let him just walk away. But of course, the powerful part was that he was able to write that novel and communicate it that way. It was such a remarkable ending.
Mm-hmm. And, for Gerd, it's really about how he's able to rise above the moral corruption of the situation that is the norm at the time. I was doing a little research while we were watching the film, and because I'd seen it before. There were only 16 million people in East Germany. There were 90,000 Stasi, which is insane. That's an insane proportion, especially, and that's a crate, like you don't have that level of policing. And then you add in hundreds of thousands of their, what they would call unofficial employees, who would either be blackmailed into informing or who would inform for money or just because they blindly followed the dogma of the Stasi. So yeah, I mean, it's really, there's a lot of subtlety to it. There's a lot that's overt. And we are, I think, towards the end of our discussion, I'm ready to hit trivia. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts they wanted to address before we finish up?
I guess the only thing I would say is sort of the hopelessness of the situation.
The whatness of this? Sorry, can you move a little closer?
The hopelessness of the situation, sure. that you're trapped. And no matter what you do, they're going to find out and they're going to get you. And you can't trust anyone. And I want to say to all of those people who deny everything, including the January 6th attack, this is what you get when you start believing in misinformation. This is what you believe that you get when you don't trust anyone anymore. So that's all to all the conservatives.
Well, that system is all pressure rather than belief.
That's right.
Two things in the movie that got was the pre-setup of her needing medication. So we know she's going to be weak in some way, though her devotion is so deep in terms of emotion. And it follows that she commits suicide, which kind of validates, again, good people can't take it. Or if they see it's hopeless, and she was ashamed. So
it's the only way out.
That's another very, very deep performance. So Donnersmarck and Ulrich Mui were successfully sued for libel for an interview in which Mui asserted that his former wife informed on him while they were East German citizens through their 6 years of marriage. Mui was the one who played Gerd. In the film's publicity material, Donnersmarck says that Mui's former wife denied the claims, although 254 pages worth of government records detailed her activities. Florian Henkel von Donnersmarck can be heard on the Letter Opener's radio earpiece announcing the fall of the Berlin Wall. A little bit of trivia for you there. He would follow with Tourist, which I have not seen. It's supposed to be uniquely terrible. It's a 2010 Johnny Depp, Angelina Jolie film. Very slow, but also very dumb. So I would avoid that one, 2010. 2013 in development, The Lives of Others. There was supposed to be an English language remake. Sidney Pollack was rumored to direct, but he died. Anthony Minghella was going to produce. He also died. So it's kind of losing relevancy. So I don't know if we're going to see an English language remake. But that was as of 2013. So who knows? There is another one. He came out with another film called Never Look Away, which I have not watched. It's 2018. and it's 3 hours and 9 minutes. It's a historical drama that deals with an artist and Nazis. The way the New York Review of Books put it, Nazis, Stazis, Germany's festering half-rhyme. So I think it's worth watching if you have 3 hours and 9 minutes of time and want to experience that. It's supposed to be very good. And of course, next for us is going to be Smiles of a Summer Night, which will be August 25th, hopefully in the chapel, and we can retire our good friend, the external drive, which has provided so much pleasure and so many glitches to us as well. Any questions or thoughts before we finish for this time?
What's the name of that film, 2018?
Oh, 2018, it's called Never Look Away. It's also in German, and this is another tense historical drama, but this time it takes place in the time of World War II. So it's supposed to be very good. It's not considered as good as this, but this was his first movie after he'd made a bunch of really good TV shows, and it's kind of like, it's almost like he's emblematic of sort of the Wes Anderson, you'll work for pennies because we want to be in your movie, but he's also emblematic of coming from TV and videos and things and then jumping to the big screen, almost fully formed with his first film.
With all the kudos this film got, did the 20% actors get reimbursed at all?
Oh, no, I think that they just got what they got, but I think this made them into much larger stars than they were before this film.
Okay.
But yeah, they did work for a fifth of their money, just a lot like, Jim Jarmusch's actors or Wes Anderson's actors or David Lynch's actors. They just want to be in one of these productions because they know it's going to be good because there's, it's written and directed by, it's complete creative control, and there's just a lot of heart and soul and authenticity to it, and it's almost a perfectly made movie, So I would stay away from The Tourist, as far as I know. And if anyone does see Never Look Away, I would like to hear whether it's worth following up on.
Okay.
May I ask what your bachelor degree?
Oh, my bachelor degree is film. It's film history.
Was like?
My what now?
Okay. Oh, okay. Bachelor of Fine Arts. I was thinking of it as an advanced degree.
No, Bachelor of Fine Arts. I have an advanced degree in library science, and I've taught film history at the college level, as well as for Osher Lifelong Learning with University of Washington. So I've done a lot of film presentations, a lot. Any other questions before we end?
Who's the mystery guy came after Hitchcock? DePaul or D something?
The mystery guy that came after Hitchcock. I think of Brian De Palma. Maybe? Is that who you're thinking of? Yeah. He made kind of gory films in the 70s. Yeah, I love his movies. They're guilty pleasures. Sisters is so good. It's so creepy.
They had a program at UW to introduce him, and they showed his pictures over a series of time.
Oh, yeah. They're well worth reviewing. Carrie, of course, is well known and wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Creepy. Sisters was great. There's the one in which John Cassavetes' head explodes. I can't remember the name of it, but it's also really fun. You can see Chicago in the 70s before it got all fancy. I'm just riffing on Chicago, but it is a really fun movie. I forget what it's called though. So, but you can look it up, Internet Movie Database, what have you. But they're always fun. And you guys need to eat your dinner. So I'm going to end this and say thank you for another great discussion. We had quality over quantity this time, especially because we misadvertised the film. So
can I say one thing?
Yes.
Alan, I liked the little interrupt icon you had in terms of problems with the techniques. I was sorry that you made an apology. I had total faith in you, and the worst I wanted to come out of you is patience, please.
Okay, I'll remember that for next time. Thank you. All right, have a great day, everybody.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your meals.
See you Friday.